The question I must ask about William Samoei Ruto's mega rally in Eldoret is as follows. What was the political impact of that particular mega rally? What role will that mega rally play going forward in the deputy president's campaign? And I'm afraid the answer to both two questions, as far as I'm concerned, is as follows. I am confused. Because I can't figure out what the real impact of that rally was. I don't know if you agree with me, but in case you don't, I would love to hear what you have to say about it in the comments area below, so that I understand. Because I'm always ready to be educated, so that I understand. I'm always very eager to learn new things. And this is what has brought me this far. Anyway, karibu sana to my show today, where I analyze and dissect the Eldoret mega rally. The much anticipated mega rally, Eldoret mega rally, came yesterday and is now over. And the whole purpose of that particular rally was to release the son of Uasin Gishu, the son of the Rift Valley, to the rest of Kenya for his presidential campaigns. Look at it this way. Right now, it is very clear that what divides the two major presidential candidates is the perception that one of those candidates is national and one of those candidates is a Rift Valley candidate. This is what a lot of Kenyans feel. So in that kind of environment, was it a good idea to hold a rally? We're told a mega rally in Eldoret. Was it? Would it be a good idea, for instance, for Raila Odinga right now or in the next few weeks to hold a mega rally in Kisumu? I don't think so. In my view, every presidential candidate, especially the two big boys, have to be very careful to avoid being labeled a candidate for a particular area, because that can be disaster for any presidential bid. Was this really a good time to hold a rally in Eldoret? Or maybe perhaps there are other reasons. I tend to think there are other reasons, and I'll gladly tell you my theory. Yes, it's a theory. I have observed a certain strategy, tactic in Team Tangatanga and the Deputy President. And it is this. When they suffer a major setback, when it is seen that the perception of the public is shifting, to suggest that the Deputy President may not be popular, they usually fall back to the familiar and the sure thing. Let me give you a quick example. A few days ago, I did a video on this channel on what is happening on Twitter and the domination of Twitter by people like Dennis Itumbi and the Deputy President's propaganda team. And I said in that particular video that the ally onslaught concerning the Room 350 was the first time that the Deputy President's boys in media, Itumbi and company, had been on the receiving end ever since we first heard of Bwana Itumbi. Now after that, I've been carefully observing what is going on Twitter, and I noticed a few things. Number one, a quick survey was immediately done. And the survey asked a very simple question. Would you allow Odinga to be the next president? Yes or no? And the results of that survey were super fascinating. I noticed that this time round, Raila Odinga did not lose as heavily as he has been losing in past Twitter polls. Now I hope we all know what is going on Twitter. Yeah, I revealed that in that particular video I'm referring to. There are fake accounts purchased from India. And these fake accounts are used to ensure that in any poll, the deputy president's people can never lose. Yeah. Something else I noted. The momentum of the Room 350 debate on Twitter slowed down by using a very old but very effective tactic of diverting attention. And if you go to Twitter, you'll notice the attention was diverted from Room 350 to Room 4. Yeah, and some allegations about Rose Muhando. Anyway, the timing and the arrival of the Eldoret Rally may seem to be the same tactic. Yeah, go back to where you're sure you have your support. Go back to where you will not struggle to raise crowds. Yeah, in order to renew the confidence of your team and the confidence of the public and the perception that actually you're the most popular presidential candidate. I believe this may be the reason why the Eldoret mega rally happened. Yeah, but let's move on. Now, at that rally there was a lot that happened. The show was stolen not by the deputy president's speech, but by a speech made by Senator Mithika Linturi. Yeah, and I've done a separate video on that particular speech. But if I can put it briefly, he made a speech that many interpreted to be hate speech. Yeah, in an area in Kenya that is super sensitive, especially after the very unfortunate events of 2007. The other big highlight came from yet another senator, Senator Cleophas Malala of Kakamega, who turned up and even made a speech. The long and short of his speech was to sell Musalia Mudavadi to the Hustler Nation. Yeah, that's really what it was. But personally, the speech I found most fascinating was that of the bullfighter, Boni Halwale. Actually, he is Dr. Boni Halwale. He's a gynecologist, a qualified medical doctor. Although he never uses the term doctor, which is good for him, I guess. But why was I so interested in Halwale's speech? I'll tell you. Throughout his speech, I observed his body language, because I've received information from multiple sources that Halwale is having a very difficult time within UDA. I can guess it may be because he is a senior politician and yet is not making a big enough impact on behalf of UDA and the deputy president in Western Province. I'm guessing that is where all this manenos is coming from. But as I observed Halwale's speech, from his body language, I saw a man who is struggling. I observed a man who is in trouble politically. But that's just my view. I could be wrong. But that's just my view based on information I have received from multiple sources. Anyway, let's move on to the deputy president's speech. There is a very huge difference between the speech you give at a political rally for the public and the speech you give in parliament to fellow legislators, or the speech you give to the diplomatic community. And the difference is this: at a rally like this one, you're talking to the common man. You're talking to ordinary wananchi. You're talking to a person who never went past primary school. And you're also talking to a person who's a professional somewhere, a doctor, an engineer, etc., etc. And therefore the idea at rallies should always be to simplify your message. The idea at rallies is to entertain so that you get your message across. One key rule in political rallies: you must never, ever, ever bore your audience. Now, I just want you to review the Deputy President's speech in Eldoret. Yeah? Because you don't have to agree with me. Just review his speech. To be very honest with you, I had problems staying awake listening to that speech. I think the time has come, if the Deputy President is really serious about being the next President of Kenya, the time has come for him to take on serious political advisors whom he can listen to. Because it is impossible in a presidential campaign to be a lone ranger. Impossible. It can't be done. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it was just me, but I noted that the Deputy President was a bit nervous. Something bothering him. Yeah. And this was reflected in the speech he made. Even how he started that speech. And don't forget, this speech was at his home turf. Yeah. Bang in the middle of where his biggest, most fanatical supporters are. Therefore, it should have been a speech where he would have looked super confident. But you just review the speech for yourself. It's here on YouTube. Was he super confident? In my view, what Team Tangatanga must do is go back to the drawing boards urgently. Yeah, and address a lot of issues linked to the presidential campaign of William Samoei Ruto. Because it is not enough to dominate Twitter. Yeah, even after the coup, it appears that Itumbi and company are very determined to regain control. Yeah, but my point is, Twitter is not enough. That is not where the votes are going to be cast. They need to urgently review their strategy right across the board and what they are doing. Because if this is happening before the campaigns proper start, before we enter the heat, the real heat of a presidential campaign, then I'm wondering what will happen when we get there. Yeah, it will not be good for Team Tangatanga. This is something they must address urgently. And the biggest take home from what happened in Eldoret this weekend is to ask yourself a simple question: what is the political impact after the Eldoret mega rally? Answer that question for yourself. Because in my view, the biggest political impact after Eldoret mega rally was Mithika Linturi. And that Mithika Linturi incident will not add votes to the Deputy President, will not assist the Deputy President's presidential campaign. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.